and welcome back for chapter 27. We talked about the erase and we talked about the replace in the last two chapters. Now we need to talk about the part that should scare us the most, the repeat. Because here's what the Trump administration is not: original. I know it feels original. I know it feels like we woke up inside a timeline that branched off from the normal one sometime around the time that Trump floated down the escalator in Trump Tower, and it's been getting progressively weirder ever since. And I know it feels unprecedented, the speed of it, the brazenness, the way they do it on camera, and then they look you in the eye and they tell you the camera is lying. Somebody's in the Epstein documents? How dare you complain? The Dow, don't you know, is at 50,000. It's almost like the game Trump is playing is just keep the scroll moving. Drop the alien files, start a war with Iran while pronouncing Iran 13 different ways, or take a shart in your pants during a press conference in the Oval Office. It's the opposite of whack-a-mole. It's the upside-down world whack-a-mole. He wants all the moles out and none of the whack. But the playbook is old. The memory hole is old. Removing inconvenient history from public walls, replacing it with a comfortable myth, and then repeating the process until the myth becomes the air that we breathe. That's not a Trump innovation. That's not even an American innovation. That's what threatened power does when it needs the past to stop talking. The Nazis burned books. The Soviets airbrushed the purge out of their photos. The American South didn't just rewrite history, it planted the rewrite in stone during Jim Crow so the lie would loom over courthouses, schools, and town greens like a permanent threat that said, remember who runs this place. Erase, replace, repeat. It's always the same 3 steps. The only thing that changes is the trinkets that they want you to buy from the gift shop. Hey friends, I'm Lloyd, and I want you to know that when John Cusack played me in 1989, the plan was not for me to end up here, middle-aged, reading a 2,500-year-old Chinese philosophy text into a microphone while the United States of America slowly eats its own Pac-Man style and is out here in a MAGA hat and calling it a comeback. With me here telling you, in the immortal words of LL Cool J, don't call it a comeback. This is the Tao of Lloyd, a podcast where I take the Tao Te Ching one chapter at a time and I use it like a Molotov cocktail chucked at the Overton window. All right, here's the thing about the repeat that nobody wants to sit with, because repeat isn't a random repetition. It's a wear-down repetition. It's the same move over and over until people start saying, oh, I'm sure they have their reasons, or I don't know the full context, or did you see the last episode of Love Island? That's the repeat, teaching you to self-censor before they even have to. If this is a pattern, if erase, replace, repeat is just what threatened power does, has always done, will always do, then this uncomfortable thing is also true. We are not outside this pattern looking in. We are inside it. Every generation that lived through a version of this thought they were living through something unprecedented. The people watching officials get airbrushed out of Soviet photographs thought, how did we get here? The black families watching Confederate monuments go up in their towns in the 1920s thought, how is this happening in broad daylight? And they were right to be horrified. And they are also, some of them, still here, still carrying the heavy thing, still refusing to put it down, still teaching the next person what used to be on the wall. That's the interruption. That's always been the interruption. The regime in power now is not the end of the story. The regime in power is our assignment. And the question I want to plant with you before we settle in for the meditation and the reading from the Tao is this. If the repeat is inevitable, if power will always try to erase, replace, and repeat, what does it mean to be the kind of person who interrupts the pattern? All right, let's settle in. Close your eyes. Or don't. I mean, I'm not your spiritual advisor. I'm a middle-aged fictional ex-rom-com boyfriend who somehow ended up reading a 2,500-year-old book about the nature of reality into a microphone while the Empire does what empires do. Anyway, take a long, slow, deep breath in through the nose and let it go. Like you're exhaling the weight of being the only person in the room who remembers what used to be on the wall. That was so cheesy, but I'm not going to redo it. I'm just going to leave it in. Sometimes I miss. But know that just for this moment, you don't have to carry it alone. Good, this is chapter 27 of the Tao Te Ching. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever he wants. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It is the great secret. Okay, you can open your eyes. It is the great secret. I've been sitting with that line for a week. The great secret is not that good defeats evil. It's not a secret that's a Marvel movie. The great secret is that the bad man is the good man's job. Which means, I think, the regime is not a sign that the story is over. The regime is a sign that the work is not done. The erasure is not proof that the truth has lost. The erasure is proof that the truth was threatening enough to erase. You don't burn books that don't matter. You don't remove panels about people who didn't exist. You don't weaponize the entire apparatus of a federal government against a wall plaque unless the wall plaque is winning. The fact that they're working this hard to replace the story is the story. And the good traveler, the one Lao Tzu describes in chapter 27, I just read, the one with no fixed plans, no intent upon arriving, that person is not lost. That person is exactly where they need to be. Because the interruption doesn't have a destination. It doesn't have a finished line. It doesn't have a moment where someone announces, the memory hole has been permanently closed. You can go home now. It has a direction. Carry the heavy thing. Pass it forward. Don't let the replacement become the only version in your body. And when you find yourself in a room where the wall has been smoothed over, where the replacement is already dying, where nobody else seems to notice the smell of fresh paint, be the person who remembers. Keep the weight. Because the good traveler leaves no fixed tracks, but she passes through. And something in the landscape remembers she was there. That's the great secret. And that's the whole trilogy. Erase, replace, repeat. And in between each step, the interruption. That's us. That's always been us. Keep a copy of the truth somewhere they can't subpoena. Your body, your community, your mouth. And from the edge of the empire in the center of the self. This is the Tao of Lloyd.